Welcome back to another episode of the Grand Prixquel Podcast where we discuss all things figure series. On today's episode, we're going to be recapping the F2 and F3 weekends at Barcelona. Your hosts for today are myself, Robin, Peter, and Evan.
So, of course, before the F2 and F3 weekend actually started, we had some rookie FP1s. So we had 6 teams taking feeder series drivers into their teams. So there was Dino Bogdanovic for Ferrari, Leonardo
There are actually 7.
Fornaroli for McLaren, Luke Browning for Williams, Colton Herta for Cadillac, Paul Aron for Audi, Ayumu Iwasa for Red Bull, and Fred Vesti for Mercedes. So, some of these drivers showed quite a good pace. In particular, I'd say Fornaroli and A1, Bogdanovic, they finished practically in the top 10. And especially Paul A1, as he finished ahead of Bortoletto in practice.
I think it's interesting that Ferrari put Dino in the car and not Kamara. Maybe they'll give Kamara FP1 sessions later on in the year. I just think that's interesting.
Me too, and maybe he'll do some with Haas. Because if you think about last year, Behrman did them with Haas as well, so...
I did Ferrari once last year, I don't remember.
But the interesting thing is, with Behrman, it is clearly laid out he's going to do this many FPs. He's very clearly our driver. It is a big announcement when he first did it in 2024. With Kamara, he tested an F1 car, but... maybe in Brazil, because there's no sprint race in Brazil this year, so... Surely in Brazil they give it to him in front of his home fans, but...
Maybe Ferrari just thinks he's that bad. Maybe that's just why he didn't get the session.
Yeah, maybe what happened in Monaco.
It is wide from their minds. But it really makes the question of how good is he? And then Fornaroli, also 6-7.
6-7.
He drove the 6-7 car.
I don't know why McLaren changed the number, but they did.
Is there no one on the team who told them that 6-7 is a meme? Or maybe they did it on purpose?
In fact, Brad needs to appeal to the kids. He can expand their fan base.
6-7.
And then, of course, Luke Browning,
Well, he would have been in the car, but he wasn't in the car because there's an electrical issue. I think if I remember right, it was a connector in the car that wasn't right. The car was entirely torn apart and they tried to find it and they never ended up finding it. And I just think it's really unfortunate that Luke just didn't get a run, after so much press and hype.
Through other, media organizations. I think Planet F1 might have done an interview with him and some other media organizations as well. I think there's a lot of hype for Luke to be doing this FP1, and then, car electrical issues said no. And that was that, I guess. But at least, he gets to do another session elsewhere, but there's not really too many amazingly great locations he could do, more sessions at, because...
It's been confirmed he's doing it next week. No, well, the week after at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, that one was announced with his Barcelona announcement as well.
Okay,
so we know that for sure. But I guess the replacement to whatever Barcelona was meant to be, the obvious one, well, if there wasn't a sprint weekend for whatever reason, the obvious one would have been the British Grand Prix because he's British, home crowd, whatever. But apparently it's a sprint weekend this year. So I'm just struggling to see where else he would fit in another one because he needs to do it. I think this
one already counted for him.
No, I don't think it did, because...
There's no way, though, because he had no running at all. He was just entered into it. He never ran at all. So from what I heard or am hearing, just in general, people were saying that it hasn't counted, but I guess we have to see.
I heard the opposite. I heard people say that it did count.
It would be a pretty idiotic, though, because the point of the rookie FP1 session is to give the rookie drivers a chance to drive, is from what my understanding is what it's meant to be. And so really all that's happened on that Barcelona weekend for Luke and Williams is that Alex Albon just didn't get to drive FP1. It's not a case of actually there was any actual rookie driving testing in there at all. So
maybe Luke sabotaged the car on purpose because he couldn't run FP1, so he just unscrewed Alex's camera, and that's why whatever happened in the F1 race happened.
My boy would never do that.
Your boy wants
My
a
boy would
Williams
never do
seat.
that. Don't you dare ever accuse him of that ever again. I will curse Alex Howell personally, even more than he's already
Whoa.
cursed.
What brought Alex Powell into this?
Too bad. You brought Luke. You just said that Luke sabotaged the car, and he definitely did not. I'm bringing Alex Howell into this.
So yeah, next up we had Colton Herta for Cadillac. Obviously just getting the super license point because it's for every 100 kilometers you run you get 1 point. So, and he's currently at 34 points, so he needs 6 more points. So just and hopefully he can aim for top 10 finish in F2 to get a few more points, but that is the aim for him.
I think if he does 4 FP1s, he needs a P8 in F2.
Or P9 should be fine.
Oh yeah, P9. Sorry. So I don't know how possible a P9 is.
He's P12 at the moment, and
He should have been higher than that.
then Paul A1 was quite interesting. I mean, for Audi, I think they eventually will have Freddie in, but Freddie's only 17 at the moment. He does have a super license point because, you know, he's won a lot of racing series.
Can't they apply for an exemption like Mercedes did for Kimi in 2024?
There's no point there if he's not going to be in F1 till 2028 anyways.
Yeah, but he might as well get the experience.
And he turns 18 in August, so...
I'm curious to know why Alpine lent Aaron to Audi. Like, it's just a bit interesting. Like, why would they not run Aaron at Alpine? You know, because that's where he's signed to. But
I mean, Aaron did some stuff for when they were Sauber last year as well, didn't he?
I mean, yeah, maybe there's an agreement there already. It's just interesting to me. I guess. I mean, look, that Audi had to get somebody, right? They need at least one person. They have no drivers in their academy right now that are older than that can do FP1 sessions. So I guess they had to borrow somebody. It's just interesting that Alpine decided to move theirs till later, I suppose. Because I mean, almost every team did something here. So like, you know,
Is this Baratore being Baratore?
Audi, or well, at the time, Sauber run Robert Schwartzman at one point.
But like, he was never going to be with Ferrari.
They did, right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but that's back when they had Ferrari engines though, so it kind of made sense.
I'm going Wikipedia to confirm this if Robert Schwartzman actually did do it because I feel like he did.
He did. I remember, and he got a penalty for it. He got a penalty during that that session, a grid penalty that he would have to serve in his next race, which is never.
I can love what I can. It's so funny to me when you go on Wikipedia because I can tell when he fell off. Because 2023 he was testing Ferrari, then 2024 he's straight down to Sauber. Like he's just been dubbed out Sauber to be testing for them. Like I can see what the downfall was for him. That's lovely.
So, moving on, we had Ayumu Uwasa for Red Bull, which I would have thought they'd bring in Solov, but maybe Solov is going to be there for VCARB at some point.
I think also it might just be to do with they wanted to get data, and Iwasa is arguably a more developed driver than Solov is. So I think that could be part of it as well.
It's like how we've had Fred Vassey for Mercedes for those two. It clearly is just data.
Yeah, I mean, when is Fred not doing FP1s for Mercedes?
At least he's no longer locked in the simulator. He gets to see the daylight.
To be fair, Mercedes is also locked into like having to use Fred anyway to do their rookie testing or rookie FP1 sessions because their academy team has no drivers that could possibly do it.
Yeah, they're all every single one of their academy drivers is Formula Regional or below. Imagine if they got Rashid Al Dahiri in the car.
Abu Dhabi, you know, I'm a water
Does
driver.
he have the super license points for that?
If he wins Freck, he will.
If he wins Frank. I mean, he's leading the championship, isn't he?
You heard this here first. Rashid Al Dahiri doing free practice sessions.
Okay, so do we want to move on to the actual F2 weekend?
Yes, would love to do that. So in practice, F2 up first. We had no Leon going off in practice, causing a red flag. One of many campuses to have incidents this weekend. And I think the campuses loved that turn 3 gravel.
Ollie was normal-ish, except for the fact that Villa Gomez was P5.
Yeah, and Kamara was like Kamara was had quite a big margin on the field, but that does need to be caveated with Miata crashed at the end, bringing out the red flag, of course.
Yeah, there were a bunch of drivers that were improving at the time.
Yeah, one of them being Lawrence Van Hoopen, improving to be I think based on the sector time, sector 2 split. He was getting a tenth or so of Kamara, so
Dirksen got a 5-place penalty. I don't think it was 5 places for not respecting yellow flags. And his fans were obviously not very happy. Dirksen keeps getting penalized, and it's entertaining as someone who doesn't like Invicta.
I mean, the thing is, they need to balance out their favoritism towards Kamara with, maybe not being so nice to Dirk. That's all it is, because you can't be nice to both Invicta cars. You need to make up for it somehow.
We had Herta qualify in the top 10, which was very nice. Not very nice what happened later, but
We had really big expectations for him. I mean, the sprint race, Kush Miney, what the hell?
what is in that ART?
7-second win by Kush Miney, of all people.
That ART is powered by money and money only. Because there is no way that, from one year to another year, that they've improved that much. It is clearly just money, I fear.
Oh, and when you look at their drivers as well, you've gone from having Victor Martins to Kush Miney. It really is a downgrade.
It's the Victor Martins luck. As soon as he left ART locked in.
And now he's joined Alpine Endurance, and Alpine Endurance aren't going to be there next year.
It's the Victor Martins luck.
Also, Miney, he got fastest lap, and his fastest lap was 3/10 faster than the next closest fastest lap by another driver.
Oh my god.
And yeah, we alluded to Colton Herta. It was going really well for him until the final lap, because he held onto his tyres. He made a really good overtake on Solo with a very kind of IndyCar style overtake. I kind of thought, is this finally the moment?
And then he bottled it!
The most Colton Herta way ever. Threw away a podium.
I am so mad. Posing go back to IndyCar. The IndyCars call for you.
He still bottled it there.
Yeah, but it's less painful than seeing him. It's less painful than seeing him throw away a podium with Kushmini on it.
I don't think too much else happened in this sprint apart from the Dirksen Stenson incident. Well, more Dirksen going off and Stenson just getting penalised for it, I can't lie.
Well, Stenstrom got a penalty for it. 10 seconds, not 5 seconds like it says in the doc.
Oh, 10, my bad.
But yeah, I don't actually remember the incident, so I couldn't tell you if the penalty was deserved or not.
They were kind of fighting for position, but then Stenson was ahead of the apex. Dirksen tries to go in, and they make a bit of contact, I think. Then
Person must really hate the Rodens.
Or maybe Stenson is just learning from his teammate Alex Dunn. Although Dunn has finally had 2 clean weekends in a row, I think we need to applaud him for it.
What a concept of a racing driver being able to keep it clean. Especially Alex Dunn. Out of every single driver, you least expect Alex Dunn keeping it clean. That deserves he deserves a championship just for that, quite frankly.
Exactly.
But he's proven though, when he keeps it clean, he does get the results. Moving on to the future race, P3.
That fight between him and Solov was so good, and I was so surprised that it didn't end in a collision or any contact at all. They were just, both of them, racing really cleanly, and it was so good.
He's actually P2 in the future race, not P3 because of the...
Yeah, Solov got penalized post-race. I think he ended up behind Mini after the penalty. So the podium ended up being Kamara, Dunn, Mini.
From the start, Dunn got the jump on the start. Kamara, that Invicta, can we please investigate it?
We need to launch a formal investigation on that Invicta, because what the hell?
How did you go 22 laps of softs?
The commentators were saying that the maximum last year was 16 laps. How do you do 22?
And still be fast? It's not like he was massively, conserving his pace, saving his tyres.
At FIA investigate.
Please. There's something shady going on.
Dunn and Mini both got hit by traffic after they pit, which really did help Kamara. But
he was still doing semi-decent lap times.
it is so weird.
And then we had, Solov. I mean, Solov did the alternate strategy. So most drivers, they went soft, hard. Solov went hard, soft. Yeah, so, I mean, he was really making up time at the end, and he would have been P2 if he didn't overtake Mini off track.
Did you see, I don't remember whether it was in the steward's doc or whether it was in the article on the F2 page, but they were talking about how they needed to use high-resolution cameras to see whether Solov went off track or not.
Does that imply that their cameras aren't high resolution then? Like, what is that? That implies that the cameras are not high resolution. You have to use high resolution cameras.
Surely they could have solved this issue by just having an automated system which can detect.
The issue is that the only just like the issue of that is that it's dependent on GPS essentially. The only most accurate way we have to determine like location, like locational position, is GPS, and GPS is also horrifically unreliable. It is like the most reliable, the least reliable technology we have for like something like that. And the only other alternative, to me at least, is that you have the lines on the track, like a camera on the nose cone or something, that can like do some like magic AI whatever to determine if a wheel is like the point is that you can't really do that without like there's actually no way to do it. They have to manually actually look at the footage, which is why I find it funny they said high resolution cameras, because that implies that cameras aren't high resolution at all.
Apparently, Solov was only very marginally off the line, so they had to use high-resolution cameras, apparently.
My question is qualifies as a high resolution camera? Like, did they have like one of the TV directing cameras, like, or one of the TV cameras pointed like pretty like right behind it follow? Like how like what do they mean we use high definition cameras or high resolution cameras?
What do you normally use then?
Yeah, to my knowledge, they determine like a lot of the decisions are determined based off like the cameras like on the track, like the track cameras, as well as maybe the T cam.
Just have somebody recording on like their iPhone 6.
I'm genuinely curious. Like, what do you mean? Like, why did they have make a why did they have to make a distinction between like the fact that it was a high resolution camera specifically? That's also semantics that doesn't really matter. But yeah, Formula 2, please explain. I'd love to know.
Average F2 experience.
I think other than that, of course, Ollie Gotha. I mean, he just had a bit of a painful race. He didn't even do the formation lap. As he get pushed, then he makes it about 100 meters outside the pit exit, and the car dies again.
He just been having pretty bad luck in general, honestly. Just like
I saw a post on Twitter that was like, he somehow got McLaren's reliability because the car is orange. I'm not calling it papaya because the MP car is not papaya, but it's almost McLaren papaya. So somehow the McLaren reliability has transferred over to him.
I think it hurt her. I mean, the pain continued in this race.
Yeah, what even happened to him? He was running in the top 10 and then suddenly he wasn't.
The pit cycle messed him up. He basically got undercut by Stenshorn and Bogdanovic. And then he just couldn't make up the positions.
We need to nuke high tech.
Like, he was doing really well. I remember he overtakes he's looking like he may overtake Verone, but then the whole pit cycle just messed him up, and then he had all of the people on there who went on the alternative strategy. He went hard soft at the end. He's coming, and naturally the softs are a lot faster than the hards. So they were just coming through, and yeah, it was just. I mean, at least the sprint race showed something. So I hope that if he can qualify in the top 10 again next week, and Rebel Wing, and of course, that is a great circuit for overtaking.
It's also a great circuit for track limits.
Golden. Oh, and gravel.
Speaking of track limits, we had a couple penalties over the weekend for track limits. Shields got 2 penalties during the feature. Belinsky and Villagomez both got 2 during the sprint. If we had bad track limits this weekend, imagine how it's going to be at Austria.
But are they going to be using the high resolution cameras in Austria? See?
They're going to be using an iPhone 5 from 2012 to do for the TV direction, so that's why they need the high resolution cameras.
They have a camera positioned at each exit just to see. But there's some dude, no, there's probably some guy out in his dance recording it, and that's what they're using.
I'm still stuck on the high resolution camera thing, by the way, because there are like there's like 4 different types of cameras that I use around a circuit, and yeah, the high resolution camera is a completely different camera to those, to any of those. Like, so your TV camera, you got your like the ground cameras, the ones in the ground. You got the T cam, and then you have maybe like the drone or whatever, or the flying like whatever the suspended camera. So which like where does high resolution camera fit in then? But whatever. I think I've gone on too much about the high resolution camera thing. I guess we'll find out next week. But
In terms of the championship, before Solov's penalty, he was leading the championship, but then he got penalized, so now he's not. So Mini still leads the championship on 86 points, Solov in P2 on 80, Kamara on 69, and Dunn on 67.
6-7.
I think it's really funny that Kamara's on 69 and Dunn is on 67. Then No Leon is in P5 on 54 points, and Bogdanovich P6 on 53.
I want to say is, our curse continues. We said last week that Oliver would surely overtake Mini for the championship lead in Barcelona.
look, technically he did. He did at one point. He did for a couple out for like an hour. So was the curse really working there? I don't know. I'm only saying this because I'm the one who said that Solov should be ahead of Mini.
The curse really did work because he had the happiness of leading the championship for an hour and then it got taken away from him.
But I think the championship fight is going to be between the top 4. I think
Yeah.
Bogdanovich could work his way in because I remember the start of the season, he was quite fast. He was just unlucky, and maybe he can work himself in somehow.
I think for once, the top 4 drivers in the standings are the top 4 best drivers in the championship.
I guess it's evened out with any bad luck and stuff. So yeah, I mean, even though like it could seem like a big gap, 20 points, like one DNF turned it around completely. And given F2 and Metachrome, you never know who's gonna explode next.
That sounds so ominous. You never know who's gonna explode next.
Am I gonna get blamed for whoever getting Metachromed next week?
Team standings. Campos leads on 134 points. Rodin is in P2 on 115. MP is in P3 on 98. Then Invicta on 90. And Dams on 65.
Again, no surprises there, because, I mean, like Rodin, they probably have the strongest driver lineup as Dunn's and Sean overall, I'd say. And even Camp, I mean, Solov is good, Leon is solid enough. So I'd say things have now kind of evened out in F2, because this is what, our 5th weekend, I think?
I think so.
Yes, he now had enough representative weekends for it to eventually even out, okay? It's not like after Miami when he only had 2 weekends, there's not enough has happened to fairly judge, but now there are clear trends, and I do still feel like Solov is the fastest and probably the best driver in the championship.
Dunn is the fastest, he's just not consistent. And by consistent, I mean he keeps crashing. But he's stopped that.
But if he keeps it tidy, if he keeps it up, he could have a solid championship result. And if it done, if he does really well, I mean, and if he does really well, he could put pressure on Alpine and Franco Colapinto because he has motivation to do it as well. But then again, that could make him lose his head, the thought of an F1 seat.
To see. Who knows? Maybe when F1 silly season properly gets started, we'll see whether that gets to his head or not.
Yeah, and then next up, we had, of course, the Formula 3 weekend. we knew after Monaco, in classic Grand Prixquel luck, the day after we record, hours after we record, the Benavides replacement gets announced.
We were literally talking on the episode about how it would be like really annoying if they announced it straight after we recorded, and then not even hours after we re-record. It wasn't really announced. We just saw the entry list, which was really, really annoying. And I said on the episode that I was going to cry if it happened, so I will cry.
Yes, he replaced by Ricardo Escoto. I mean, I think it's only for Barcelona because he's managed by they're both managed by the same person. So given how last minute this was, that really find somebody within literally a few days' notice. So there is going to be somebody different for the Red Bull Wing.
We believe there's going to be someone different.
We believe. I mean, I'd love it for it to be K and B because that'd be hilarious.
It would be so funny.
Yeah, like Ricardo, it's got there's nothing very notable about him. I mean, he's currently losing to Neil Coolan in India NXT.
How do you manage that?
I mean, for reference, they are in like Coolan is in a better team, but still.
His best finish in Indie Next is P7. But yeah, not a very notable Indie Next driver. I can't lie. When it was announced that he would be doing Barcelona, I was like, who the hell is that? I did not realize he was an Indie Next. He's kind of a bit irrelevant.
Yeah, but I think with AIX, for the next round, it could be the case of whoever can pay will get it.
Who's the biggest pay driver in Formula Regional level at the moment?
My goodness, Dave, look at F4, we have McInerney.
Macagnani is not going up to F3
I mean,
for a round.
Aldehawi, maybe? Yes.
Eventually. We'll have to see. I swear to God, if they announce it after the episode again, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I mean, at least the entry list comes out next week rather than today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so looking at practice, nothing too notable, but oh my god, the campuses. 1, 2, 3. What is this campus rocket trip?
I would much rather Campus domination than Trident domination, just because it means that if Alex Powell joins them next year, he's gonna be good. Just trust me. I really want Alex Powell to join them next year. Quali, I remember the ARTs and the VARs were really good.
Yeah, no, and the campuses. I mean, campus were 127. And the VARs, all of the VARs were 368. I mean, I think it's quite clear to me who the top two teams are. It's campus and VAR, and that is reflected in
Really?
the driving. I mean, at least this weekend.
Yeah, I think I don't know if VAR's performance this weekend was a fluke or not.
VAR are second in the team championship.
Yeah, but they've gotten a lot of their points from the sprints. I mean, Del Pino has 2 sprint podiums. Yamakoshi ended up on a sprint podium. Deligny ended up on a sprint.
I mean, yeah, Trident. Okay, I am biased as a Freddie fan because he was only P10 in quali, but I do think that Trident have taken a step back from where they were last year because I look at where Stromstead is. Stromstead is in the same team and he's doing worse this year than he was last year.
Or maybe Ugo is washed.
Maybe, but I'm just looking at Stromstead as my reference point, and it's clear that yes, Campos have good drivers, but also, I mean, the Campos just seem like fully locked in their cars and how it is. And yeah, Freddie was, but all the trying to kind of watch this weekend. I don't want to talk about the race for Freddie. I mean, I don't want to talk about the sprint race, you know, he was P2 in the sprint race.
I think the sprint was kind of really weird because we had James Wharton winning. Rema is good bro calm. we had surprisingly clean starts. At least for the sprint race. I don't know about the feature race. I was not there for the start of the feature race.
I think they're still traumatized from the Monaco sprint race.
But yeah, so surprisingly clean start. I laughed when Ugo spun behind Enzo. He was really rattled by Enzo's aura.
I mean, again, it was turn 3. Turn 3 and Campos just weren't mixing this week.
I know it wasn't because of Enzo's aura, but in my head it was because of Enzo's aura.
Oh yeah, no, he saw Deligny and it was like, oh my god, he's gonna 6-7 me into this.
He's gonna... Maybe Enzo did a 6-7 before the corner, and then
Yeah,
and then
I
Ugo
mean-
felt it.
knowing NJ, he probably did.
Both Rivera and Kolnagi ended up DNFing, which is really sad.
In terms of Rivera, it's actually quite interesting because Rivera had an electrical issue and that caused Badaware to go into him. And initially, Badaware was given a penalty for that, but then Campos showed really good sportsmanship by basically telling the stewards they took a right review and saying it's not his fault, it's the car's fault. Which, I like that.
Kolnagi, I don't know what happened to him, but he went into the pit lane in the beginning of the race, and then I don't think he stopped in the pit lane. I think he just went on to the end of the pit lane, so he started in the pit lane for whatever reason, and then he went back into the pits.
He stalled on the formation.
Did he?
Yeah. Someone stalled.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and then the future race, which I don't really want to talk about because
Because your goat is washed. The future race podium was Nile, Yamakoshi, and Ukachukwu. Badaware was up there. I think he's been pretty consistently good so far this season.
yeah, he has. He's kind of been silently in the back. He's just kind of lurking there.
Yeah, I was not expecting that going into the season, but I've been pleasantly surprised.
I mean, maybe with some drivers, they just take one season to get settled, and then the second season, they pull him over. And I think also maybe changing teams has helped him.
Yeah, I mean, he was with Prema last year, wasn't he?
But also, Ugo Tricko and Leon are both. I mean, Ugo's a very good driver, Leon is solid. Like in Rodent, maybe it's more of a relaxed environment as well. There's not as much pressure. He's no longer with McLaren as well. That pressure from an F1 team is gone.
But yeah, so the VARs again were really good. I mean, we had Yamakoshi P2, Deligny P5, and Delpino P6. It would have been really funny if they were 6th and 7th, but they're not. So, whatever.
They are 6th and 7th in the standings, though.
Yeah, Deligny and Yamakoshi are 6th and 7th.
But you see the top 7, I mean, all 3 campuses, all 3 VARs.
And then Battleware.
Yeah. And Freddie would have been up there if he just wasn't washed. He got
He had already been overtaken by Deligny before his penalty.
He would have been 7th. He would have been 7th without the penalty.
So it's not that bad of a drop. I mean, where is he? 9th?
He was 8th. He gained 1 spot. But if he gained 1 spot, that would have mean he was P3 in points, not P4.
He'll make it up. It's fine, whatever.
I mean, I can't lie, I don't remember much from the future race. But the championship is looking quite interesting, I think, because the top 4 are only separated by 11 points.
I still wonder what Campos are gonna do if Ugo and Theo end up in a title fight.
Yeah, I mean, even 17 points is the gap if we include Badaware. Which, I mean, I can't lie, I would have thought Ugo would have had a bigger lead.
I think that spin in the sprint didn't really help him.
And also losing out to P2, to Yamakoshi, not being on the podium in Monaco. But, I mean, it's left this championship fairly wide open. And, Delapino is still keeping up there. I think he's finished the sprint race and the future race in the same spot, so I can no longer call him a sprint merchant.
I am surprised Delpino is up there.
I think also, I mean, maybe once we get to more of the traditional races, because, Melbourne and Monaco, both street circuits, is not entirely representative, but
Both Deligny and Delpino finished the sprint and the feature in the same spots. 5th and 6th for both.
it should have been 1 spot lower, each of you.
More points for Enzo. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, Enzo's on 28, so I think, yeah, they're quite a step back from the top 5, but you never know what could happen, but
I saw the championship standings after is this round 3,
Three.
4? 3?
3 out of 9.
I saw the championship standings after Imola last season, and you know who was in P6 in the standings at that time? It was Nikola Solov. Where did Nikola Solov finish that championship?
P2.
Exactly. Enzo's going to end up P2 in the championship. You heard it here first. Trust me.
But there is one less round this year compared to last year.
The math does not concern me. The delusion concerns me.
And linked to the team championship, I mean, Campos have like a 30-point lead in the team championship.
I mean, Fork found in Kitchen, I'm not surprised.
And I think it is also combined by the fact they have a good, strong driver lineup as well. And like I said, they are in second with 99, and that's quite a step back to third and fourth. Roden and Trident with 57 and 56. Okay, Freddie may have been washed this week, but he is still carrying Trident. I mean, he scored 80% of their points.
Ida is a lot lower than I thought they would be. I really did think they would fight with Campos for the team's title, but maybe it'll be Campos versus VAR.
I think it depends more on the drivers because, okay, I was expecting more from Stromstead. Like, he's solid. He showed last year he is solid. Maybe not on the level of like Freddie, but he still can put in a decent drive. And even, I mean, De Palo, I mean, yes, he was runner up last year in Freck, but apart from that, he's never really showed too much.
I think he was just like your average driver, but F3 hasn't really shown much for him. Maybe he just needs a second season. Maybe we'll see more of him next year. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's it. I don't have anything more to say.
No, I feel like these weekends were kind of, okay, they're more eventful than Monaco, but they weren't that eventful.
Yeah. There isn't much, especially because the only feeder series we had on were F2 and F3. There was nothing else that we cover on the podcast. So, unfortunately, kind of an uneventful weekend, and
We did have karting, which I did tune into a bit. Baglin had the option to win the title, and yeah, he just had a massive off week, which was disappointing for me. I do quite like him. But, I mean, next time out, he should. I mean, he has a decent enough, at a 30-point lead, I think. He should be able to win it as long as he keeps it clean.
I mean, I haven't kept up much with karting for a good while. I don't know why, I just haven't. But I follow an account that like does karting updates for OKJ and OK. And just every single karting weekend, it's like Baglin on top or Green on top. It's like always those two.
I mean, Baglin had won 4 finals in a row, so I think.
But yeah, other than that, there's nothing much to say, unfortunately. I think this episode is a little shorter than usual. I don't know. I can't actually tell how long we've been filming.
I think we've been filming for about 40 minutes, which.
It's been 45 minutes, but a lot of it will be edited out. So that's it for today's episode of the Grand Prixquel Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure to follow us on all our socials, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Grand Prixquel, and let us know if you have any comments or anything you want to say about this episode. Next week, we'll be doing a recap of the upcoming Italian F4 and Freck weekends at Monza, so make sure to tune in for those, and thank you for listening.